Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new season on LangBytes. So today is the first episode of the second season, and today's going to be a little bit different because I invited a guest we had on the first season. Now we're going to catch up on him on what he has done, what he has been doing since the last time we talked with him. So today we are going to talk with Jeremy. And Jeremy is a linguist and a language enthusiast who has transitioned into a career as a data science analyst. He holds a master's of arts in both computational linguistics and Hispanic linguistics, as well as a bachelor's degree in Spanish language and literature. Initially focused on mastering multiple languages, Jeremy expanded his expertise by studying programming, mathematics, and statistics both through formal education and self-directed learning. Currently, he works as a full-time data science analyst at Quantum Workplace, applying his knowledge in natural language processing to create products designed to make work better. Sorry, to make work better every day for others. So again, Jeremy, thank you for coming back, and we are very pleased that you're here.
Yeah, it's great to be back. I'm excited that there's a season two of the show, and super excited to be here. So thanks.
Thank you. Uh, so I would like you to refresh us of how many languages you speak and what are they?
Oh man, so if you look back here, you can see all of these books. They're all language
Mhm.
books. There's French,
Nice.
there's Farsi, there's German, there's Greek,
Mm-hmm.
there's Hungarian. Um, and I do not speak all of those languages. I would say I feel pretty comfortable speaking in Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese. Um, Probably in the order of Spanish, Portuguese, Italian. Um,
Great.
I can I can read French and understand probably about 90% of it, but um, I'd never really practiced speaking or writing it. And then, yeah, I've studied a bunch of other languages, even though I don't really say that I speak them. I've
Mm-hmm.
studied German. I've taken classes for Russian, for Mandarin, for Arabic. So really, um, I've kept up with a couple of the Romance languages, but exposure-wise, I would say I've had exposure to well over 10 languages.
Nice. And those three languages that you feel comfortable talking, like foreign languages for you, of course, they are very similar. So I think it was easier, or maybe difficult because they were similar to learn them. And
Yeah,
and your Portuguese is very good. I've
thank you.
talked to Jeremy before, everyone in Portuguese, and his Portuguese is very good, written and spoken.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like now it's becoming more like Portuñol, um, because I just don't really get. I used to take Portuguese classes, and
Mhm.
uh, every week I would be practicing or listening to music, watching movies, and life kind of gets in the way, and you kind of you know lose contact with it. And so now I speak in Spanish every day, and so now whenever I try to speak in Portuguese, it's like I always find myself trying to like fight the Spanish mentally of
Yeah, yeah.
you know
Uh-huh.
trying
Yeah.
not to say a Spanish word.
Sometimes that Ola comes out.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Or like yeah, like organización, like a couple of sions will come out
Yeah.
instead of a
Or
son.
pero.
Pero, oh man, that's the worst. I always throw like a pero and I'm like, stop, no. So
Uh,
yeah.
that's nice. Yeah. But I mean, as long as you keep practicing, I think this thing happens, and I think that's the fun part of being like bilingual or polyglot, multilingual, is that you can mix up and have
Yeah.
fun with it.
Yeah. And they always say like if you don't use it, you lose it. Um, and so I just have to start using it more. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, you speak English and Portuguese, right? Do you speak any
Yes.
other languages as well?
I can understand and speak just a little bit of Italian.
Really
I did.
nice,
I took like a 1 year course
nice.
during my undergrad, and then I could speak like basic things, but it has been like many years since then.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to go back and practice again and maybe go to Italy and study that a little bit, but it
that
has
would
been
be
a
awesome.
while. Yeah, just like I just know like to introduce myself in
Yeah, like
like
ciao, ti
perfectly
chiamo.
with a
Yeah,
good pronunciation, with a good pacing, but the rest I have to think for a longer period to make up a sentence.
yeah, yeah. But that's awesome, though. I mean, I think it's always good to have exposure to
Yeah.
other languages. So,
Mhm. That's nice. So thank you, Jeremy, for answering this question. Um, and I have to make a like a disclaimer for the viewers. Jeremy is going to be asking some questions to me too. So whenever he feels free to ask his questions, he absolutely welcome to do. But I'm gonna start. So since the last time we were talking, Jeremy and I were master's students. Now we are master's holders.
yeah,
Finally.
yeah.
So now, Jeremy, looking back when we were doing since the beginning, now that you have finished, what was this process like, and what do you feel you learned the most?
Yeah, man, anyone who is listening to this and who has done a master's degree knows how difficult it is. It was really it's an experience that really forces you to grow and adapt. I think so. Just outside of computational linguistics and Hispanic linguistics, I think I really gained so many valuable skills that go beyond uh, the academics. Just being able to uh, have better time management and prioritize exactly what I need to do when I need to do it. Um, learning how to set myself up for success in the future. Like if I know that tomorrow I have to teach this class and then I have to go to this class, I need to make sure that I prepare myself lunch today and that I get my lunchbox ready and just all of these
Mhm,
little very small things of day to day of like if you put in that extra time and effort and discipline, you can make things so much easier for yourself. And
mhm,
so, yeah, I guess to summarize, some of the things that I really learned are time management, discipline, working with others, and
mhm,
really collaborating with others to get projects done. Um, I mean, communication skills. Improving my written skills, my presentation skills. There's so
mhm.
many things that go beyond just the academics themselves.
Yeah. And I think from my part, um, one thing that what I would add is how to receive feedback.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Um, I think our masters have had a different structure. I had to do a thesis and do oral exam on my thesis with a panel later.
Hmm.
Um, and throughout the writing of my thesis, I had to receive feedback from my both advisors, and some of them they weren't harsh, but they were like I had to do a lot of things in order to accomplish what they were asking me to do. And also during the oral exam, or yeah, the oral exam, the defense, um, the panel had some feedback to give me. Some of them I like it, some of them I didn't. So I had to receive it like professionally, and I had to accept this is not personal. This is just something they want to tell me to improve my book. But this is
Yeah,
also something I had to learn.
yeah. It's something that maybe at first you don't think about, and then you hand in, your work, and then they give it back to you, and they give you those comments, and the first time I think that you receive that feedback, you may not be prepared, like to uh, you may not have mentally prepared yourself to receive it, and then maybe it
Mhm.
hurts a little bit, and you think it may create some self-doubt for you, but I think in the end, when you realize that, like you said, it's not personal, it's professional. um, and at the
Mhm.
end of the day, I think most professors um, really want to see you learn and grow and improve, and they want to
Mhm.
help you produce good work, and
Yes.
that's what they're there for. That they're there to help
Mhm.
guide us, mentor us, um,
Yes.
and so yeah, that's a really good point that you made
Yeah.
about feedback, because I also definitely received some feedback, despite not having done a thesis on my work, and you're right, you have to sit there and be professional and take it. And I think part of that is also going into it with this mentality of, um, this is going to make me better. This feedback is going to make
Yeah.
me better, and it's going to make
Mhm.
my work better. And when you make that mental shift of, oh, this is to help me. Um,
Yes. Mhm.
yeah,
And I think we can take it to take it to a business environment as well. Um, some people don't know how to give feedback, and some
yeah,
people don't know how to receive it. And then when you are on the receiving part, you have to check if the feedback is on a personal level, if the person is giving on a is being professional, is being clear on what they are describing that they need to make what you need to make it better. Um, and then if it is not a feedback on your work but on yourself, then I think you would have to check with your manager or whoever you need to talk to what they want for that report or for the project and presentation. Otherwise, you may get like angry
yeah,
because people are not telling you what they want, and they are making it personal, which is not what we expect to happen, right?
yeah. There's almost like feedback about feedback, right? Um,
Mhm.
where uh, in my experience, I think professors may be less inclined to do this than in industry and kind of in the business world. But uh, being able to say or speak with them about how they give feedback, what is their method when giving feedback and creating feedback, and how do they like to receive feedback. And I think establishing some kind of like line of communication about, hey, like, how do you like to receive feedback, or how do you like to give feedback? When you give feedback, what are you thinking about? um, I think that can really help make those moments go a lot smoother. And also, like you said, being able to clarify the expectations of what they're looking for with a project, um, or saying, sometimes, like, what I've found has happened is I'll produce something, and in my head I think I'm on the right track, and then I get the feedback and I realize, whoa, I was like way in the other direction.
Yeah.
And it's uh, sometimes it's good to sit down and speak with them and say, okay, I did this, you recommended that I did this. There's obviously like a gap here, or a misalignment of expectations. Like, can you help me, uh, you know, understand that a little better? And and in academia, I don't know if that level of communication, at least in my experience, it didn't really exist. But um,
Mhm.
in the business world, it
Yeah.
definitely
Mhm.
is available.
I agree with you that academia is much less. Um, the environment is much less welcoming with this type of practices. But talking from experience, I had the opposite. Like my advisor were super open and super communicative, and she was really a mentor, not only an advisor. So
Yeah.
she was taking the time to give me feedback, and whenever I was unsure of what she was asking, we would talk again, and then she would explain what she wanted from me. So
Yeah. That's really good.
I was my case the exception. I think.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, that's really good. It's great that you had that experience. I mean, what was that like during the duration of your master's program?
I would say that sometimes it was chaotic, but it was much less chaotic because I had good advisors.
Yeah. It just makes things go smoothly, right?
Yes. One thing that I always tell people about my advisor, like she's not workaholic, but she would always answer me in less than 24 hours,
Yeah.
like an email. She's not workaholic, but she would make sure to answer me like right away. And like the only time, or the only few times she answered me like more than 48 hours, it was she has like a personal problem, like someone at the hospital, things like that. But
Yeah.
besides that, she was always answering me really fast, and that helped me a lot because then I could go on with my work because I already had her feedback. So it
Yeah.
was
Sometimes it helps you get like unblocked or unstuck, right? Being
yes,
able to like
yes,
like s- it's great to have someone that uh, like a mentor that responds that quickly, because sometimes you just have that one question or that one thing that you're unsure of
uh,
that you need
yeah,
like just like just kind of point me in the right direction. Is it this way or this way?
yes.
And being able to get that in less than
Well,
24 hours
yeah.
is really great.
And I would always, sorry, I would ask her as well for recommendations of papers that I
Oh
should
yeah,
read, and then she would also like send me links, PDFs, and books and etc. So it was nice to have someone like that with me.
yeah, that's awesome. I mean, like
Yeah,
someone's so supportive of your learning, right?
yeah, and we became kind of really good friends. So it
Yeah,
was nice to see this process go. Great. So now, uh, with a very good news from your side. Fortunately, after you finish your master's, you got a job.
yeah.
Yay! That's great, super great. So, can you describe for us how was your job seeking process, and then how you got this one?
Yeah, so this kind of takes me back a couple of years actually, um, because the company that I work for now, Quantum Workplace, is a company where I did an internship for 2 summers um, before getting that full time job. So I think that was May. eh, Okay, so I think I applied for the internship initially in maybe March of 22. Yeah, 2022. And then I don't think they contacted me until a bit later, maybe April or even May. And then uh, they set up an interview. We did the interview, and then after that interview, I don't think I heard from them for a couple weeks, um, and I got a call, and I was offered that internship position. I was super fortunate and super happy to be offered that position, and I worked for them that summer. Uh, I reapplied to get another internship there in 2023 for the full duration of the summer. So I believe it was from May to August. And then when it comes to getting the full time position, really during that internship, I tried my hardest, and I think my um, manager and my manager's manager really uh, put me on a good path to be able to demonstrate how much value I could bring to the organization. Um, and by the end of that summer, I had really felt like I had made my case for being a good full-time employee that could deliver value at the company. And so,
That's nice.
yeah,
And do you think, and maybe that's a little bit more personal question, but when you were getting it by the end of your internship, did you go to them saying like, "Hey, where are we going?" Or did they tell you, "Hey, we wanna hire"?
yeah, I think there was. Um, I think I did ask, like, do you know if there is a possibility for a full-time position after this? And um, there was a period of time where they couldn't give me a definitive answer, um, and I think I understood that in the moment, and so I just periodically throughout the internship followed up and um, didn't want to put too much pressure or but um, I wasn't offered the position actually until I believe September. So I had finished the internship at the beginning of August, and there was about a month or a 2 month period of not knowing if I was going to be offered the position, and that was also the same semester. Uh, it was my last semester at of my master's program, so I was trying to do all of my classwork, teach, and then also still applying for jobs in case I didn't get that full time job, and then also following up with that company about a full time job there. So
That's nice. And when you did the internship, was also on data science, or was it on a different department?
yeah, so I was in like the product development department, working as the official title is data science intern, and so yeah, so I was a data science intern. Yeah.
Great. And you work as a data science intern. Now you're working as a data science analyst full time. Um, and I don't know if all the viewers know, but Jeremy now has a newsletter. He can talk about it later, but I'm gonna just sum up. Like, it's basically helping people from linguistics to transition to data science and learning about more the hard sciences
Hmm.
area. So, can you talk a little bit how you did your transition from computational linguistics or linguistics, computational linguistics, then to data science? How was this process? When I read your bio, you read I said a little bit of formal education and then self-learning. So, how was how was this process?
Yeah, it wasn't something that happened overnight, for sure. It's something that I think took years, really. So uh, I did my bachelor's in Spanish, and during that time, I had minimal exposure to math or statistics. I did take like a language and technology course that was like an intro to Python.
Mhm.
I didn't do very well. I think I struggled a little bit with the Python, and what really stopped me wasn't the content itself, but it was uh, allowing myself to make mistakes. Um,
Mm,
like when you write that line of code and it doesn't work, and you don't know how to fix it, and
yeah.
ChatGPT didn't exist, so it couldn't help you. And yeah, so but essentially that's kind of where I started, right? Was during my bachelor's, trying to get a little bit of exposure. And then once I graduated, I realized, okay, I didn't want to be a translator or an interpreter or um, or like a high school teacher or middle school language teacher. And there's nothing wrong with those professions at all. It just, I wanted something a bit more technical.
Mhm.
And uh, during that time period that I was applying to master's programs, I was also um, I started taking Python courses online. And so really not even anything like math related or statistics related. It was uh, just, I'm going to learn how to write code in Python. Um, and so I took a couple of those courses through Coursera. That was kind of the self-learning part of the journey. And then during my master's program, I was able to take uh, courses like more intro to Python courses, and then also some applied machine learning courses. And then during the summer, when I was also doing my internship, that really gave me exposure to things that I needed to know. Uh, it made me realize, oh, I don't know anything about linear algebra, or I don't know what logistic regression is or how that works, or linear regression. Um, and so what I would do is, luckily, I had Fridays off during that internship, and so from Monday to Thursday, I would work and I would kind of create a list of the things that I wanted to learn. And then Friday, when I didn't have to work, I would go to the library and I would get my laptop, I would get a notebook, I have a couple of books, and I would just sit there and I'd probably spend 5 or 6 hours just watching videos, taking notes, going through these books, trying to pull from all these different resources um, to try to fully like get a clear picture of the way that things worked and the way that things are applied. And so uh, yeah, I mean, it was a journey that took years, and that was really a mixture of self self teaching and taking classes.
That's nice. Very nice. And later on, you can talk about the newsletter. It's very good. So
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
I want to spread the word about your newsletter.
thanks.
Um, so now we talked about your previous like background, how you did the transition, how you find the job, how you did the transition. But now let's talk about like your current situation. So what type of activities are involved in your current role as a data scientist?
Yeah, so I work on a cross-functional team. So
Mhm.
the teams are composed of, well, we call them squads. So we have teams and we have squads. The squads are cross-functional, meaning that they have a product manager, a product designer, a quality analyst or quality engineer, as well as some software developers. And I am the data science representative on that cross-functional squad. So um, I work in uh, essentially what my day-to-day tasks look like are, I could be doing anything from building a dashboard to display data so that other people on the squad or other people throughout the organization can understand um, some information about whether they're internal tools or external tools about our customers, or also about our products. It could be um, also developing new products. So working really closely with the product manager, product designer, um, and everybody else on the squad to say, okay, we have this problem that we want to solve for our customers. What are some potential uh, solutions to that problem? And then as the data scientist or data science analyst, I go pull data from a database. I code up a prototype of how that might work. Um,
Mhm.
and that can also involve, using large language models as well, like uh, OpenAI's GPT, um, and then running that prototype by the product manager, by the squad, by my own manager, and really taking things through that entire product development cycle from initial discovery work and prototyping all the way to actually putting a product in production and putting it in front of our customers.
Thanks. Um, I want to ask you a follow-up question on that. What type of, or let me change the question. How does your um, technical linguistics knowledge apply in your day-to-day work? I know that there are maybe some soft skills that you learn during um, your journey with linguistics, and I think you have a text on that on your newsletter, so people
Oh
check it
yeah,
out. But on the technical part of linguistics, how do you use it, or if you use it?
yeah. That's a really good question. So we can kind of go through the different branches of linguistics, and I can tell you if I use them. Um, Knowledge of phonology, which I do have, I never use at work. My knowledge of uh, what else? Um, let's say,
Semantics.
yeah, semantics and syntax. I would say I apply my knowledge of computational semantics, like uh,
Mhm,
understanding how word embeddings and sentence embeddings work, and using those, especially because those are really prevalent for retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. Um, and so essentially, I do use some knowledge of kind of computational semantics a bit, or
mhm.
distributional semantics. Um, Pragmatics, I'm trying to think if there's any way that I apply pragmatics. Um, no, I don't think I actively apply my knowledge of it, but if I'm interacting with a large language model and I'm interacting with different comment data, and sometimes I might think about, um, even though I'm not applying it directly in terms of like implementing something
Mhm.
specifically related to pragmatics or semantics, um, it's constantly on my mind. Like,
Yeah,
okay, I think about Deixis with
yeah, yeah, yeah.
large language models. I'm like, I have to be very specific to make sure that it understands like
Mhm.
anaphoric and cataphoric
Yeah,
references, and like um,
yeah,
things like that. But unfortunately, I don't get to apply my linguistics knowledge as much as I like to, I think.
yeah. Okay. So maybe we can say like your data science knowledge is on the foreground and linguistics is on the background. Whenever it pops up, you're, ooh, I can use it. So
Yeah,
let's do it.
exactly. Yeah.
Great. That's great. Um, okay, so now moving forward, we talked about your master's, your job seeking process, internship, your current role, what you do now, but what are your plans for the future? And then you can talk about, for example, in your current company, or you can talk about generally, like what you want to do professionally, career wise. It's up to you. If you
Yeah,
want to do
yeah.
a PhD, for example, I don't know.
Yeah, I think right now, as I think last time we spoke, I was really considering a PhD. I
Mhm.
think right now I'm not considering it so much anymore. Um,
Same.
uh, yeah, really, yeah, right. Especially like after you finish your master's, you're like, I don't want to go back. um, I mean, some people do, and if someone's listening to this and they did their PhD,
Yeah,
um,
we can talk about it later. I have some things to tell you.
okay, yeah. Yeah, like if someone's listening to this and they did their PhD, that's great. But for me right now, I really want to build amazing products. Um,
Mhm,
it's something that, I started this newsletter um, almost a month ago, maybe a month ago, like exactly.
mhm,
And the whole goal of that newsletter um, is to help others get into data science, uh, get out of their comfort zone and into something a little bit more technical and help them. But one thing that I really found was it it took me in just in this short amount of time on a completely different path than uh,
mhm.
what I had originally thought. It led me to explore things like how to write effectively online, which led me to explore things about marketing, which led me to explore um,
Personal branding is very
personal.
important to learn.
Yeah, it led me to personal branding, and so where I'm trying to go with this is it led me on this journey from writing to personal branding to marketing to building a business to developing really good products. And um, I I do that at work now, but I'm really excited to both continue advancing in my position at my company, continue building amazing products
Mhm,
that use natural language processing primarily, and also outside of work. Um, I'm extremely motivated to work on um, personal projects or side projects that use natural language processing that could be the beginnings of a new product. That's maybe it's just kind of the past few weeks that I'm getting into this, but
mhm.
my brain has really just been flying on wanting to um, build amazing products, build businesses, uh, use that technical knowledge, but um, just develop more skills in sales, product development, marketing, um, and put something amazing out there in the world that helps people and that solves a problem for them.
Yeah. Talking about helping people, maybe there's something coming up, right, Jeremy? So stay tuned.
Yeah,
Something's
yeah,
coming. So,
yeah,
like the winter
definitely.
is coming, something's coming.
So yeah, exactly.
And I'm saying that everybody because Jeremy and I we talk a little bit of like on WhatsApp, so we are
Yeah,
planning things. So stay tuned.
yeah. There's stuff going on behind the scenes for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Now, the last thing I would like to ask you, and then you can over your questions as well. Um, Now that you have done the transition and now you are on the, let's say, the other side, let's say it is a spectrum from linguistics to data science, and now you're on the data science. And what tips can you give to linguists especially, um, who want to make this transition as well, to do this transition?
Yeah, I think.
And then I
Um,
think it will be nice if you sorry, I think it
Go
will be
ahead.
nice if you
Yeah,
tell a little bit about like if you're gonna talk about skills, a little bit on the hard and the soft.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. I think there are soft skills that you need to think about first before getting into the hard skills. If I could go back and talk to Jeremy from the middle of undergrad when he was studying Spanish and kind of dreaming about being in that world, but not knowing how to get there, I would say like the first things you need to think about are um, allowing yourself to make mistakes and to not be good at something. Like I tried to walk. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but like there are these people that they walk across these ropes like really high in the sky,
Yeah.
like tightrope walkers. And I felt like I was walking on a tightrope at all times, where it was like I felt like I couldn't make any mistakes. Like I couldn't like I didn't want to make any mistakes. And um, I think before you get in, you try to get into the technical things. Um, you need to like set that up mentally, like install that software in your head mentally of um, I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to grow a lot. That's the first thing I would say. And then the second thing I would say is um, tech is really broad. Like uh,
Mm.
the data world is really vast in terms of the different positions and day-to-day activities. And so um, I would say identify roles that interest you.
Yeah.
Like uh,
Because there is
read
like data analyst, data engineer, data scientist, and sometimes even
exactly,
like different companies have different names for the same thing. So then
exactly,
maybe maybe this is a tip, like search on LinkedIn and see like this is a role I would like to do. So then learn the skills that they ask for.
exactly.
You can apply later for that position or something similar.
Yeah, like there's data science, there's data analyst, there's data engineer, there's business analyst, there's business intelligence analyst. The list goes on and on and on of all the different
Hmm.
roles. And like you said, different companies call them different things. So I think take some time. When I studied Spanish and I scrolled through the job postings for data science, I looked at it, and to be honest with you and the audience, like it it hurt to read that, because I looked at it and it was something I was so excited to learn about. I really wanted to learn about, but I felt so far away from it. I was like, you're never going to understand. Like, it's all kind of the talk in your head of like, you're never going to understand that. You're never going to learn that. Um,
Hmm.
but take that and present it to yourself as like, I'm doing some research, right? And you go through, you find these job postings, you make a list of the different titles and the different um, descriptions that really interest you. And then what you do is you go connect with people on LinkedIn and you try to talk to them and say, hey, I study linguistics, but I'm really interested in learning more about data science or data engineering. Um, you know, could we schedule like a 30-minute chat? I'd love to learn more about what you do.
Hmm.
And people are so happy to do that.
Yes. Mm.
And then once you've identified kind of what the fields are that you want to target, you go back to those job descriptions that you made, and you make a list and you say, okay, all of these ask for Python, all of these ask for um, some math and statistics knowledge, all of these ask for whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
um, and then you create kind of a plan, and you collect all these online resources, and you uh, say, okay, every week for the next however many weeks, I'm going to study for however many hours, and set a little challenge and see how far you get. And um, one last thing, and then I'll stop talking. One last thing about this is uh, the if you when I studied Spanish and I was doing my BA and I was studying linguistics and all these languages, I thought that the most important thing was Python and R and SQL and linear algebra and all of these things, and descriptive statistics and inferential statistics, right? I thought I have to know that perfectly 100% before I can get a job. And the truth is, um, those are not the most important skills. They get you uh, they can help you get the job offer, or they can help you do well in an interview. But on the job, what you need to be able to do is take a step back and see things from a bigger picture and understand how your role fits into the success of that organization, right? Like, what role does data science play at this organization? How am I contributing? How are my projects contributing to the success of the organization? And and how you complete those projects, usually, you know, my manager, for example, doesn't care whether I use R or Python or something else. It's less about the nitty gritty tactical, what each line of code does, and it's more about, like, are you is your methodology sound, and is your project contributing to the success of the organization in the right way.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So
They want to know if you can deliver. That
exactly, yeah, and they want someone who is able to communicate the the value of the project. It's like, if you're working with, if you have to present your work to someone else in the organization that doesn't have a technical background, right? Maybe they're um, whether it's a product manager or someone else, they need to know they don't need to know the lines of code that you wrote, right? They don't need to know necessarily every detail about how the the feature works, right? But what you have to be able to do is explain it to them in a way that they'll understand, and then also communicate the value of it, and why, and how it is achieving the goal, or solving the problem that you initially set out to solve. And that's really, like, the most important. And all the stuff that happens in between, like, you know setting up your coding environment and all of that, it's like that just is a stepping stone on the way to achieving that goal. So
yeah.
sorry, I spoke for probably about 10 minutes straight, but
No,
that's
no,
just
no.
something that,
That's
like,
but that
like
was a complete answer, and
yeah,
people like that. I think the viewers would like to have this kind of.
yeah,
Um. So that's it for my questions. I think you can ask yours, and maybe because of the time, you can choose like two of them, two that you would prefer to ask me. So
yeah, I have a list here. Let me go
mm,
through and see. So the one that okay, I have the two here that I really want to ask. So recently you posted on LinkedIn, and you went viral. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think it got like 600 or 700 likes the last time I saw it.
yeah,
And that was about the role of the term semantics, and in relation to large language models, and that got me thinking, like, there are a lot of people that work in NLP that don't have a background in linguistics. And a lot of people that they get their BA and or BS in math, they get their MS in math, and their PhD in computer science, and they're doing or research on NLP. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think some of the things? Uh, what are some things that they should know about linguistics when um, approaching NLP research as people that don't have a background in
yeah,
linguistics?
yeah. So that's a very tricky question. Because when it's the opposite, I think it's easier to tell. Oh, if you're a linguist, what you should learn about math and computer
Yeah,
science. But when someone's a mathematician and wants to learn linguistics, that's I think it's harder question to answer. Um, but I would say like the basic semantics and syntax would be okay.
Yeah.
It will be, of course, if they can learn more about it, pragmatics, phonology, phonetics, depending, of course, what the NLP work they're doing. But I think generally a little bit of syntax and semantics will be essential. And I can give an example. Someone told me that they heard, maybe it's like a third person talking, but someone with a linguistics background heard someone with an engineering background saying that the preposition in and the preposition into are the same. And I was like, what? No,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Wrong.
not it. Not it. Okay. And then if they had the fundamentals of semantics and syntax, I think they wouldn't have said that. So I think that would be this kind of, I think those technical skills they would need to have in order to know a little bit of linguistics. Um, but I think it's harder for them to find those type of resources because you can find self-learning courses on Python, data science, machine learning, deep learning, whatever, math, statistics. But we don't have that for linguistics. We don't have like a semantics course on Coursera, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
That's a
don't have
really
that.
good
We don't
point.
have that on Udemy. Okay,
Yeah.
so and that's another thing we need to discuss, Jeremy. But anyway,
Yeah.
uh, so for for the engineering people, math people, to make the transition into linguistics, it's harder because there aren't many resources for them to do it. Of course, they can go to course books, they can go maybe to university websites. Some of them have some informational material, but for me, at least for me, it's not the same as doing taking a course.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think taking a course, especially if it is like in person or maybe like online, but people talking on not a recording, a video session. Um, I think linguistics is learned by discussing things. So and at least for now, this type of resource is only found at the university.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's a good
people
point.
don't want to do a second bachelor. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So that would be it is hard for them to do the transition, the opposite transition than what we are doing. So yeah.
Yeah. We always, yeah, I think we always think and talk about like from linguistics to computer science, but I think, what about the other way around? They can still work in NLP research
Mhm.
um, and and I'm not saying that they quit their jobs and become linguists, but um, I think they could benefit from knowing, you know, that meaning is very subjective,
Yeah.
right? And that
A language
it
is not a bunch of sounds. Yeah.
exactly, and that like one word in one language doesn't map the meaning of one word in one language doesn't perfectly map to the
Yeah.
meaning of another word in another language. It's not one
They
to one.
aren't perfect synonyms, people. They
Exactly.
aren't.
Exactly.
Get that out of your head. They're
And even just the way that they're used, um, or not only semantically but syntactically, like it can be different.
yeah.
And the culture that comes with it, the feelings that it creates in people when you say a certain word versus a different one.
Yes.
Excuse me.
And
Yeah.
I also think that if someone who has a background on math, statistics, or engineering or computer science doesn't want to learn about linguistics, that's fine. But if they are working with NLP, they should have a linguist on their team.
Yeah, yeah, and
That's totally
I'd
fine
love.
if they want to work. If they don't want to work with that, that's totally fine. I don't want to work, for example, with medicine. Then I hire a doctor to examine me.
That's
Uh,
true. Yeah,
so then it will be better if they would have like a multidisciplinary team, so that whenever a linguist or linguistics knowledge is needed, then they think, "Oh, you linguist, what does that mean?"
yeah, yeah. Or even asking for their feedback or their perspective on, you have this background, you have this knowledge that I don't have. Is there something that we're not considering in this approach?
Yes.
And
Mhm.
that's a really good point. Like they don't have to become linguists. I think having a little bit of knowledge, like if you're working in voice recognition and anything speech related in the NLP world, it's like, it's probably good to know a little bit of phonetics and phonology, um, but I would love to see linguists on those teams. And
Mhm.
um, I think from what I've seen just on LinkedIn, it looks like there are, a lot of people that uh, have a have masters and PhDs in linguistics, and they do go get onto those teams. But I would encourage um, the managers of those teams to consider hiring linguists just to add that perspective of, like, if you're
Mhm.
working on language related problems, it makes sense to have
Yes,
a language
exactly.
expert on the team.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
You just summarized. Yeah.
yeah,
Would you
really
like to give
good,
them next?
good, good points there though. Like, you know,
Thank you.
like you said, having that knowledge in syntax and semantics, it's like they could benefit from that, and not
Yeah,
everybody has to be an expert. Just have someone else on the team that is.
exactly. And even between among linguists, like I am, I'm a master or I'm a specialist on social linguistics now, but I'm not on phonetics because I didn't study phonetics. So
Yeah,
if
it's
they need
interesting.
someone who is a sociolinguist, they can call me. But if they need a phonetician as well, then they call another phonetician to help me with whatever we are dealing with.
Yeah, that's the beauty of collaboration.
Exactly. Right.
Nice. And I had uh, another question here.
Hmm.
So if you could go back,
Mm.
I said if I could go back and talk to myself, what I would say. But if you could go back and talk to yourself, whether it's before doing your master's program, um, or even earlier than that, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, okay. A therapy session now. Uh, I think I would say to my younger self, I think when I start really going into corpus linguistics, because that was the first area that I got into quantitative linguistics, um, I would say invest more time on learning statistics and learning a third language,
Oh, yeah.
because I had several opportunities within my undergraduate to study statistics, and I didn't like I did some courses. I've taken some courses, but I haven't properly learned what the teachers were teaching.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention because for me it was too far away, like statistics. I was doing just because my advisor told me. I was like, okay.
Yeah. It
But
feels like far away, right? It feels like
yeah,
un inalcanzable, unreachable. I don't know how you
yeah,
say that in
yeah. Inalcançável. Also,
yeah,
Estima.
yeah.
Um, and then I think I would take more advantage of that. And then I'm still young, but when I was on the during sorry, when I was doing my major, I had more energy to do stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I was doing like research. I was taking like 7 courses. I was teaching. I was working. I was learning. I was doing several things at the same time that I don't have the energy to do the same things now. But then
now it's
at the
like,
time, now
man, tô
it's
cansado.
like, yeah, now it feels like I'm giving birth, like in order to do something. Um, and I also think maybe you have that like I'm still like hungover for my masters. So I'm still like I need to rest.
Yeah, totally.
But anyway, I will tell myself to learn statistics because if I knew statistics, I would I think I would be in a different place now, professionally speaking. Not I will still be a linguist, but I think I will be more advanced in my career because of that.
Hmm.
And a third language, I would say for me, a linguist should be at least bilingual. Every
I
linguist.
agree. I
Some
agree.
people may disagree with me, but I think every linguist should be at least bilingual. And I'm a ready bilingual person, but I would like to be some kind of multilingual person, a speaker.
You might go viral on LinkedIn again if you say that every linguist should know another language. Uh,
Probably. But then,
Chomsky, I don't know if Chomsky spoke another language, but um,
yeah,
even,
that's a problem.
yeah, I think there are people that I think he might know Hebrew, but but there's just was a joke I had among friends that was, uh, Chomsky's like the father of linguistics, um, and uh, wasn't multilingual, right? But I I agree. I think every linguist should know
Yeah.
another language.
And again, I had more energy and more resources back then because I don't know if you know this. There are some public universities at Brazil that you don't pay any fees or
Hmm.
taxes on it. And I was in at one of those. So then I could take like Italian classes because we had like an Italian major, Italian language major, and then I could take those classes for free, and I did.
Wow,
I did two of them. That was I took 1 year Italian course, but then I didn't like move forward with it. Um, I could take it for free and learn the language,
that's amazing.
but I didn't. That's the problem.
Yeah,
And then I would say myself, okay, learn statistics and a third language, and that would be Italian because I'm in love with Italian language. So it will be
yeah.
this one.
I was gonna ask what language it would have been, and you still have the opportunity, but like you said, there's still that hangover from the masters where I mean, you're probably still like, "Ugh, I don't want to learn anything right now. Give me a couple of months."
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. I don't want to learn. I don't want to know how to write anymore. Like it's like this, you know.
yeah, yeah,
But I think it's like getting to an end because I finished on March. I think now it's okay to move forward and learn new things.
yeah. Just March. Wow, that's it's really not that long ago, and I think I'm just now really starting to feel refreshed, and I finished in December. So yeah, I if you're feeling good now, that's great. But also like
I'm taking my
anybody,
time. Don't worry. I'm taking
yeah,
my
yeah. Like if it takes you a couple more months to really feel refreshed, don't feel bad about it because it's such a tough experience.
yeah. Thank you. So thank you for your questions. They were very good. You can be a podcaster as well.
But yeah, maybe we'll do this more often.
Yeah, probably. Um, so again, Jeremy, thank you very much for accepting the invitation again, for coming and for sharing your experience with us. It was great to have you here again.
Oh, thank you so much for having me back on again. This is an awesome initiative. I think I said that earlier and in my the first time I was on, and really just an incredible initiative, and I think it's something that I wish Jeremy of the past had access to. A couple of years ago when he was trying
Yeah.
to get into tech. So thank you for having me back on and for having such a great show.
Yeah. Oh, and I think now it's the time for you to make like propaganda of your newsletter.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thanks for reminding me. Maybe I'm not a great podcaster or marketer, but yeah, guys. So I last month started a weekly newsletter called Dive into Data that uh, is geared for linguists and other people. Oh, that's awesome. Other people from non-technical backgrounds that are looking to learn more about data science and data related careers. So every month you can expect a technical deep dive, um, a coding corner. That's the second one, right? So um, we have a deep dive, a coding corner. We have career insights, um, and every issue also includes a resource roundup. So at the bottom, for the deep dive, you can expect additional free resources to help you continue learning. Um, and one of the most recent ones that I put out was um, essentially something that I spoke about earlier in the show, which is how do you create your personalized path from linguistics to um, to technical or a data related role. So um, you can find that over at diveintodata.substack.com, and
I
it's
can
also
put
on
on
my.
the video description as well.
Oh, nice. Thanks. Yeah. So link in the description below, and then also. Uh, yeah, I share it frequently on LinkedIn as well, so you can check out the post there.
Great. And I've subscribed to his newsletter, um, viewers, and it is very nice. So especially if you are a beginner, you want to know how to do it. His newsletters is the resource you're looking for.
Thank you. Yeah, I when I spoke with people about it, everybody said that they wanted something that was a mixture of career insights, like what careers are right for me? How do I get into it? Um,
Mhm.
and then also technical aspects. So that's why I'm trying to hit all of those by, you know,
Mhm.
I uploaded a coding tutorial if you're looking to get into Python, but then also if you want to break from that and you want to just think, um, you know, more about how to plan or kind of create your own path, there's also that content on there as well. So
Yeah. And I must say that within the lines of helping people with their careers, again, something's coming.
yeah,
You're
yep,
gonna hear again from me and Jeremy sometime soon.
yeah. Stay tuned for it, definitely.
Yeah. So again, Jeremy, thank you very much. We're gonna finish the episode here. Um, and that's it, everyone. Thank you very much, and hope you to stay tuned with the Jeremy episode, but also for the next episodes we are gonna release. Okay. Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
thanks.